Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Ben Backus.
And I'm Kevin Paulin, and welcome to the Falling Up Podcast, where we have conversations about turning obstacles into opportunities. And on today's show, we have the pleasure of being joined by Mrs. Marian Clark.
Marian is the Chief Operating Officer of the University of Dope, which is a disrespectful party game for hip-hop lovers. And I can tell you guys right off the bat, it is a phenomenal game. I played it the other weekend, and it was a good time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what this episode really brings is the idea that anything you set your mind to and have a burning desire and faith, you can make it happen. And she quite literally built this company to be the number one card game strictly for the culture out of nothing. And we get to talk about all of the kind of trials and tribulations that she went through to get to the point that she is today.
So without further ado, welcome to the Falling Up Podcast. So welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so
Is it
excited.
recording now?
I think we've been recording, right?
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
You gotta give people a heads up. Like, okay, you know,
We just like to ease it in, and then and what will happen?
Am I allowed to curse?
You can say whatever you want.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Whatever you
okay.
want.
I
You
can
could be your
Sailor
authentic
time.
self.
Authentic self.
That's
Got
what this
it.
is. That's what this is all about.
All right, cool.
But yeah, typically we just start recording right from the rip, and then
Okay.
when we kind of get it going to put out, we just started at a part that makes sense. Normally
that
we
makes
just have
sense.
like a conversation to get
Okay.
everyone nice and comfortable and recognize that that's all that this entire process is just
Okay.
shooting the shit, having a good time.
That's it.
Okay.
And then
Getting to know you, sharing your story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Inspiring, empowering.
Okay.
You know, all that.
Yeah.
You know, so let the people know who you are, what you represent, your roles, and all that.
Okay. Well, like, let me try to talk softly. No. My name is Marian. My friends call me Skinny B. I used to DJ. I've been rolling with that nickname for a very long time because I have a small frame.
is that where that came from?
Well, it really came from Monique. Remember, the comedian Monique? And she had like a whole comedy bit on skinny bitches. And I happened to be a skinny bitch. So I was in a dance crew, Pep Squad, Pep Squad from CCSU.
Already.
And they put it on my hoodie. There was like Skinny Bitch 1 and my homegirl was Skinny Bitch 2. And then when I started to DJ, I learned how to DJ on Central's campus. They have a little radio station in there. And I saw these Jamaicans cutting it up on vinyl. And I was like, I must learn how to do this.
Yes.
So I went in there and they asked me what my DJ name was. And I went with Skinny B. And it just like stuck. Like people would just be like, yo, Skinny. You know what I mean? Like, and it just stuck.
So prior to that, no DJing experience, like you literally just saw it for the first time and were like, this is what I want.
I've always been into music. So I'm a child of an immigrant. You know what I'm saying? I'm first generation here. So music actually was like my first outlet love. I moved into a town, all white town in a neighborhood that didn't have no kids really. So like my best friend was, remember Columbia House? Remember the Columbia, you like check all the things on Columbia House and like 10 things will come.
Yeah.
So my mom was an immigrant and she likes classical music, like Andre Bocelli, like classical music. So she would check her one box, you know what I'm saying? And then she would hand it off to me and I just would check all the boxes. So I've always loved music and I used to make mixtapes for my friends. And that's kind of like how it started. And then when I got to college, I remember a couple of house parties I had. I didn't have a DJ, so I like burn CDs, like make the mix in a row. Like this is CD1, this is CD2, this is CD3, this is CD4. Don't deviate from, you know what I'm saying? Like don't deviate from the sequence. And then I saw these Jamaicans and they were like, yo, when I mean the way they were switching up the rhythms, like it was just like a seamless flow and it was on vinyl and they were on techniques. And I was just like, I've always wanted to learn. I've always had an affinity for music. So I walked up in there and I was like, I need to learn how to do this. And they were like, sure. And before you know it, I was learning how to DJ and I had my like a baby radio station. But then I started doing parties and whatnot when I moved to Atlanta and when I moved back up here. Before you know it, I was like in Sephora. I was that DJ in Sephora. Yeah.
That's dope.
I got kind of nice.
Yeah,
I don't know if
yeah.
I'm nice anymore, but I got kind of nice.
That's like riding a bike.
That's what I was wondering. Do you think it's like that? Like one of those things, once you do it, you're never really going to forget?
It's one of those things where you'll never forget the mechanics of it. You know what I'm saying? Like what to do with your hands, like how to get from one track to the other track, BPMs. You know what I mean? But to really, really like scratch, to really, really mix, I feel like it's a skill more than it is something that's just like a talent, and you have to work at it. And if you don't work at it, you will lose it. There's no way in hell I would DJ a party right now. That shit would suck. Like, I know it would suck. So, yeah.
So it's safe to say you've always been a really creative person.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to draw. Yeah.
So something that I find interesting is the word creativity, right? Like it can represent so many different things. What's creativity mean to you?
Making something that you enjoy or others will enjoy. So I love to craft. I love interior design, and I feel like all that plays into creativity. You know what I mean? I love the way certain things look. I like the way certain things make me feel. So I feel like it's a culmination of like creating something that makes you feel good and makes others feel good. Yeah.
Using kind of all the senses.
All
and
the
that's
senses.
Something I heard in there. Which
visual. You know what I'm saying? It's something you create via, I know people that are like beasts when they create and make songs and music and beats and scratching. And I'm very much a visual and an audible part of a person, I guess.
So to elaborate on that a little bit, what's your creative process like?
For what exactly?
So it differs based on what endeavor you're pursuing?
Yeah, because, I have a lot of friends that hit me up for interior design now. Not to say that I like went to school for interior design or anything. I just like things to look a particular type of way, and I got really good at it, right? And then on top of that, I also like when people give me what they think that is good for them, and I like finding things for them that makes their space their space. So I don't really have I'm like, if I had a process for something like that, it's very much submersing myself in other visual things that inspire me. So if like KP's like, my favorite color is orange and I want to design a studio, I'd be like, I bet, you know what I mean? Yeah. I would look at things that would fall into that I know that I think that he would like, and find drawing inspiration from other things. You never know.
Yeah, that's very similar to my process. And I would say that's pretty much straight across the board, where I get whatever I'm trying to pursue. Not recreating the wheel is something like I'm one of those work smarter, not harder type of guys. Yeah. So using other individuals that are reputable in whatever field it is and getting inspiration from them and saying, okay, what is an identified problem that I can kind of use their outline and put a little twist on it. Interesting. How about you?
Yeah. So when it comes to the creative process, I might be fast forwarding a little bit, but I'm so interested because of University of Dope.
I know.
I'm so interested in that. So when I hear creative and basically you describing artists in different, senses, what was the creative process? Because I know I see Vance Hall, so all that is dear to my heart.
I know.
He just likes to just jump on it. He just
we're
not going to warm it up. We're just going to get right to it.
And sorry, I haven't been on many podcasts, and he's like, introduce yourself, tell you what you do. My name is Marian, and I am the co-creator and CEO of University of Dope. It is the very first card game dedicated to hip hop culture. It's a party game. It's a drinking game, and it is my baby, and I love it.
Yes.
When it comes to the creative process of that, how the story behind that is the co-founder, A.V. Perkins. We met in college, and we've always our relationship has been very debatey. We like to debate and argue about a lot of stuff. It's like fun arguments, not like heated arguments, you know. And she moved to Brooklyn. And I went to go visit her in Brooklyn, and we went out to eat, and she was like, the real story is she asked, we were asking about Cash Cab. Remember those,
so
Cash
Cab? Be a second story?
There's not like a different story. We cut it short for press and whatnot, and our press kit, we cut it short.
Okay.
But the real story is we were talking about Cash Cab, and she was like, if you were ever in Cash Cab, would you be able to, and they asked you, would you be able to name all the members of En Vogue? Would you be able to do it? And I was like, no. Immediately no. I could probably name 2 members of, don't even put me on the spot. I don't know no members of En Vogue, right? And I love R&B to death. I love music to death, but I can't name the members of En Vogue. However, then she was asking me, she was like, now if they asked you if you could name all the members of Wu-Tang, would you be able to do it? And I was like, of course. Hands down, not even a problem. Then she was like, do you think you'd be able to do it drunk? And I was like, of course, again, you know what I mean?
Even easier.
Yeah, right. I was just
Right.
like, I might roll off the tongue then. And she was like, oh my God, that would be such a fun game. And I was like, it would. So we literally like left dinner. We went home and we typed in Wu-Tang drinking game. We were like, like Wu-Tang drinking game. It was like, and I was like, okay, well, hip hop drinking game. And again, it was like, and I was like, okay. I feel like we should make this, and we laughed about it for a good year. Like the original name for the game was Who Wants to Be a Cash Money Millionaire? And
the block is hot.
Yeah, and we came up with just a few questions as a joke. And my homegirl Martina, who's also on the team now, she's our in-house graphic designer. She also used to work at a printer and has that background. Like not only she graphic design, but she has like printing connects. And she was like, if you really want to make this game, like I can help. We like make a prototype. So we made a prototype and played with our friends, and people were like,
yeah.
You need to make this game for real. And we did. That's how that happened.
That's fine.
Yeah. As for the creative process for that, all the questions are ratchetly fun. And all we did was like on a weekend, we locked ourselves in a room, drinks, pop in, put up the Spotify and just start going through like all the stereotypes of everything that ever was discussed in heated debates and anything that had to do with hip hop. And we just wrote it all down in a spreadsheet and just would go in on conversation. That was it.
Yeah, I love like the organic nature of its kind of birth, right? Where it wasn't forced. We weren't trying to come up with like this $1 million idea, right? It was, hey, we identified this need based off having fun. And then you said a year of kind of just messing around with the idea, but not really pursuing it. Yeah.
So a year had gone by. We jokingly, tinkered with the idea, and this is the turning point for me. So I have my cousin Papa. I don't know if you ever met him. He went to Central too, but
yes,
you did.
Yes.
Yeah, because he used to look like did he play soccer? No, he played football in high school. I don't know. Either way, he looked like JoJo. If you remember JoJo, they were like doppelgangers of each other.
Yes. Okay, that's what I'm thinking of.
You thinking of JoJo?
Yes.
Either way.
Yes.
My cousin, if you've ever met him, he's like he's always like, yo, what are we doing? You know what I mean? What are your plans? He's like, I'm gonna be a millionaire. I'm gonna have real estate up. Yeah, I'm doing everything. Marian, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I think I have this, this game or whatever. He was like, you need to do that shit. You need to do that shit. It's such a dope idea. You need to do that shit. Anyway, my cousin Papa ended up passing away. He ended up passing away randomly. Just his heart stopped. He just ended up passing away. And I made a vow to myself that anything that he put his back on or told me that I should pursue and I didn't, I needed to pursue. So a year had gone by since I had mentioned it to him as a joke. And then when he passed away, I literally was like, fuck am I doing with my life? You know what I mean? And opportunities come and go each and every day. How do I not know? How do I know if this is $1 million idea for real? So literally like the weekend before his funeral, we sat down in that room and came up with the game. The name, everything, the questions, everything. Yeah. All in one. Yeah. Me, the graphic designer, Martina, and AV on one room, the three of us shooting the shit.
Having drinks, having a good time. I
wrote his...
The energy of that.
Yeah. I mean, that's how Uber started, right? Uber started over a bottle of tequila at 3 a.m.
See?
Right?
Really?
Like,
and it was such a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine if you really trace back so many companies, like that's probably how it starts, right? Just a bunch of people who are singularly focused, trying to come up with a really good idea. And I mean, let's face it, drugs certainly can help expand the creative process. So when you jumped in that night and was there a business strategy incorporated with that, or really it was just like, what did the picture look like? Did you start with a big goal, or did you start with like the little goals and like, fuck it, let's see where this goes? So little goals first. And the only reason why I know little goals first is because I actually went to business school. So because I went to business school, and I guess this is where college pays, I guess, like, cause still not doing anything to do with my real degree, I guess. Well, I guess, now, cause I'm in business, I guess. Anyway, but
full circle.
At the time.
You want to know what's so beautiful about that though?
Right.
What's so beautiful about that you're having so much fun with this, it doesn't even feel like a business.
Exactly.
That's like actually a pretty special thing.
Right. At the
That's
time, I was
code.
working in insurance, right? And had nothing to do with business school, but I knew the steps. I was like, all right, I'm starting a business, get an LLC, register with the state, get an EIN number, get a bank account.
Right.
As for the idea, what I did know, which actually also came to protect us really early in the game, was to protect your smarts. So once you come up with an idea, no matter what it is, get it on paper and get it registered. Even if you haven't like fleshed out every last piece. I was able to copyright and trademark University of Dope early in the game, and somebody tried to steal it early in the game, and I was like, man, cease and desist, bitch. Yeah. She literally tried to steal our concept of the game, name it something else, but it was pretty much exactly our game. And I had a lawyer reach out to her and was like, yeah, you need to stop this.
So that's a jewel. Everybody listen, that's a jewel.
It's definitely a jewel.
Yeah, protect your shit.
Honestly, that's every time somebody's like, I'm starting a business, what should I do? Protect that shit.
Yes.
Protect it. Protect your ideas first. Protect your smarts first. It costs a little bit of money, but I know a lot of lawyers out here, like if you pay for a consultation with them, they'll put that consultation fee towards their services if you go with them. And it's just worth it. Honestly, I think that's when you first allocate your money, that's where it should go. For sure. And then when it came to big picture, yeah, we did sit down. We were like, okay, what's the end goal with this? And I've always been a shoot for the moon. My friends jokingly call me a helium balloon. They had to I'm up here. You got to pull me back down. You know what I mean? So I'm shooting for the moon. I want to be in Target. I want to be an Urban Outfitter. I want to have a festival. We stumbled on another thing, which we do University of Dope live and interactive. So now we can play. We've played with like Sony and Bleacher Report now, and it's turned into a whole new animal, and we didn't know. But shoot for the moon. You never know what's going to happen. Shoot for the moon.
That's fire. Falling up.
Yeah, and I definitely want everything I said, even though it hasn't happened yet. No, am I in Target? No, but I had talks with Target. I'm becoming compliant with Target. Did I have a festival yet? No, but I'm working with other festival people to collab on something that could turn into a larger festival in future. Like, you can find other opportunities once you shoot for the moon, and if you keep your head in that same general direction, usually those opportunities will come to you in smaller forms until you can do the grand thing that you want to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's such an important statement, right? Like, if you have a goal, you begin to aim. When you begin to aim, you begin to see things very clearly that were always there, but you just weren't aiming for it, right?
Awareness.
Oh, yeah.
Manifestation is absolutely a thing. I hate people try to make fun of manifestation, but if you really, really focus on something and you don't know the steps to it, it doesn't even matter. If you're laser focused on it, the steps will come.
And you talk
100%.
to any successful individual, they've used those manifestation techniques. And what I like to do is some people just get tripped up on that word manifestation. So I say, call whatever the fuck you want, right? Like, the principles are the principles. If you spend enough time obsessing about something and putting all of your energy into it, you're going to get new outcomes. Right?
True.
You do something, it opens a door, you walk through that door, you have more choices now. You go through the next door and so on and so forth. Before you know it, whether you're at your exact goal or some different iteration of it, you're still in that direction, right?
Exactly.
So
yeah. I used to tell people, if you don't believe in manifestation, pick something small that you want. It doesn't even matter what it was. Just anything. And the more and more you obsess and think about it, the more and more you see it, even if it's not yours.
Yes.
And then it'll eventually become yours. And I did that with every vehicle that I've ever wanted to drive.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking you. Even the vehicle I have right now, and the vehicle before that, and the vehicle before that, I was like, man, I really want that car. Man, I really want that car. And I would see it everywhere on the road, other people driving the car. You know what I mean? Get out in the parking lot, you see the car everywhere. You're like, shit, how can I get this car? It doesn't matter. If you obsess and believe that the car is yours, it'll be yours. Think of something small.
And
that's part of it. When you let the funniest thing is when I think the people who have the most trouble often are intellectuals who really want to see the science in the laid out plan. And the funniest thing is whether or not you're resistant to it, if you just try it for 3 months, the quality of your life improves because it's all about positivity.
Absolutely.
And it's all about giving off good energy.
Absolutely.
So who the fuck cares if there's proof or not if you're actively feeling better?
Right.
I think it's like, hey, I'm going to cut off my nose to spite my face. Yeah.
Well, that's the proof.
But it is challenging getting that concept. So that's why I say don't call it whatever you want.
Right.
But these principles are very much proven, right? Like there's no question when you are positive, you attract more positivity because you're more likely to put yourself in positive situations.
Absolutely.
Right? Whereas when you're negative, you're more likely to be around negative people in situations.
I've told people that so many times. People are like, how come bad things don't happen to you? I was like, I don't put myself in that headspace for bad shit to happen to me. Like,
it's that
when it happens
simple.
to me, it catches me off guard for real. Like,
But that's getting to that point takes work, and it's sometimes uncomfortable because you're breaking so many thought paradigms and just so much of automatic behavior, right?
This is true.
But once you're there, you're there.
This is true. Now, I will say this. I used to be a negative person, okay? I was one of those people, all right? Negative shit used to happen to me and my family all the time. I felt like I had to overcome a lot in my childhood. And therapy. So if nothing else, let this episode be advocacy for therapy.
Absolutely.
Honestly, my therapist has helped me through a lot. And then once I started, looking at the positive outlooks of life got better. So yeah, go to therapy, guys.
And I would second that. Therapy is amazing.
It is.
And one thing about therapy when I'm listening is what I was stuck at was how to get to this goal. So I wasn't manifesting a goal. I was negative and stuck on
the steps. Fuck those steps.
If you know it's going to happen, without a shadow of a doubt, there's nothing you can change my mind.
Yep.
I have a burning desire to win.
Yep.
It don't matter if I'm gonna get there.
It really doesn't.
I'm gonna get there. Whichever way I get, 95 or 15 to New York, I'm gonna get there. It don't matter which way I take. As long as I get to New York.
That's fact.
And that's when, for me, with therapy, chanting, meditating, exercising, eating different, these different things created this mindset where I was stuck on the celebration of the goal that's already happened.
And what you're talking about, and you can correct me if I'm off, but you're talking about process versus outcome. I feel like being overly consumed with either one, you have a blind spot.
This is true.
Right? Where if I'm so focused on the outcome, I'm not going to enjoy the process getting there, even if I end up getting there, right? Like I reflect back at any long-term goal I accomplished, and unfortunately, I can say most of them, I look back and like I didn't really enjoy any of it. I just had my head down, grinding. And then you wake up at the end and you're like, oh, that was cool. I learned a lot from it, but I could have had a level of sanity and positivity and all of these things while going through it. But it's the same step too. I feel like if I'm so consumed with the process, that can almost work at a disadvantage. And I think it's that balance of those two. I guess if I were to choose one, I would want to be more into paying attention to the process than the outcome, knowing that the outcome is going to happen.
Well,
if that makes I don't actually know in saying this in real time. I haven't.
I agree with the balance. I totally agree with the balance. Like both unbalanced on either side could,
take you a little while to get to either step.
Right. I don't know if I would focus. I think keeping my head down and getting there. I think for me personally, focusing on the process too much, that's when I get stuck. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And now I'm dreading.
Right.
I'm just unhappy. You know what I'm saying? At this moment because of this step that I can't overcome. Rather than I know I'm gonna get here, head down, I'm gonna burrow my way through it. I don't know how, but I know I'm gonna get there. And I think for me, I would rather choose focusing on the goal
than the steps.
Only because of that.
My anxiety is typically high, and I typically tend to falter over the steps. And I falter over the steps so much that when I finally get to the goal, I used to be bitter. Not even like, I don't even say bitter.
Just
I just
enjoy
don't
it?
celebrate as much as you should. It'd be like, okay, what's next? You know what I mean? And just like, damn, I worked very hard to fucking get here. Sleepless nights, anxiety, you know what I'm saying? And
That
it's
might
like
be
you
where I'm
finally
at.
get there and you don't even...
That might be where because I just
Yo.
graduated, right? I just got my bachelor's in December.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a major...
Yeah, that's
Fucking deal.
He was there with me. We went to Indy
Okay.
to watch the Colts beat the shit out the Patriots.
Oh
You
my
hear me?
gosh.
First time in 10 years. He won't let me live it down.
You
now.
as good, and this is
Are you
central.
a Patriots fan?
Oh yeah, he's a Patriots fan.
Oh, Giants fan. Beat you in the Super Bowl twice. Anyway, go ahead.
I like that. Throw that in there. Talk about it. Hello.
We win when it counts. Okay, you still lost to us twice.
Yes.
Okay, anyway, go ahead.
So when we went there, we went to the game Saturday night. Sunday, I finished my final. We celebrated. I got back. I've been working ever since.
So you didn't take
I
no
don't
time.
even. I'm still in school. In the grind I'm in.
Yeah, because you never stopped.
I never stopped. So I
You
think
gotta
that's where-
celebrate. You have to stop.
I'm a graduate June 5th.
Okay.
Charter Oak, Hartford, Bushwell, some shit.
Okay.
Some shit. I'm gonna walk across that stage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Is there like a vacation or something planned afterwards?
Not yet. I'm a shake and bake though. You know what I'm saying? But I
If
don't
you
know.
don't vacation, do a staycation. Just like do nothing.
No, I'm gonna definitely slide. I just don't know where yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna definitely slide.
Yeah, I think there's a way to, and I'm trying this now because I have a couple new life adventures that I'm in the very infancy stage on.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm something that I noticed that I really got thrown for a loop and taken out of was manifestation, was positivity, was setting my intentions, was my visualizations that I was religious with for so many years. And I got away from that. And in those moments, the process felt like what you were saying, Kev, right? And what I'm trying now is to keep that at the forefront and let the process be the process and be present and enjoy it. And so far, again, I know it's a day at a time. So far it's working. And like my whole mindset and my energy feels really authentic and feels really good. So I feel like there is a way to be able to have that balance between process and goal and keep a level of serenity and peace and positivity. I don't know yet. I'll let you guys know in a couple months.
So no, you're on the right way.
I think you're on the right track.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I think you see immediately the benefit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, I mean, I do see it immediately,
Yeah, and
right?
that's
but it's
it.
also infancy stage of work, and as anything, right? Like you have to ramp up during certain periods, and it's can you do it when? Like right now, I look at it like I'm in practice. I'm in summer league right now. Right?
I gotcha.
And like we're talking like
when the playoffs come.
That's right. We're talking that
see.
final push, March, April into June, right? Or into May.
you
Like
ready?
that's what we're
Yeah,
talking.
is
So
you
once
ready?
that comes, we'll have a better sense. But coming back to your story, because this went down a little sidetrack. When you kind of envisioned from sitting in that room with everyone coming up with this plan, and you envisioned what this process would be, has it gone according to plan, or has there been
Roadblocks, sir.
Let's
sir,
hear-
roadblocks.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
So because nobody in the room has ever developed a product in large numbers and nobody's in manufacturing, you're
Yeah.
going to take wrong steps. And we took many wrong steps. And finding the right manufacturer, getting samples made, figuring out like what the supply chain was gonna be like, figuring out our supply chain was bullshit. So yeah, I had to learn not to beat myself, because I was beating myself up every time I took a wrong turn, and I'm like, fuck, this is holding me up, or this isn't to the schedule or timeline in which I had originally planned out. And over the years, I had to learn that my time necessarily isn't the best time, and I have to extend myself grace, because again, I'm still new to this. I learn something at what feels like almost every month now. It went from every day as you start really, really new to every month. You're like, I just learned something new about my business just yesterday. Yeah, so there were many roadblocks. Like, we went through various manufacturers to get the game right. We actually rebranded in 2020 altogether because even though I really, really liked the game a lot, I wasn't happy with the final product. So in 2020, right before the world shut down, it was just like, you know what, 2020... 2020, razzle dazzle before COVID ruined it for everybody. I was like,
Stay
you know
your ass
what?
in the house.
The enjoyment of it started to fizzle out, I would say, in 2019. And I started to feel like I was failing. And I was like, it's not where I wanted to be just yet. I feel like, other games that had come out after us got to be in Target. Comparison is a thief of joy. Just want to put that out there. And I just feel like I wasn't doing everything that I was supposed to be doing with the game. But then I had a moment of reflection where I was like, well, am I giving this 100% actually? And the answer was no. I was spreading myself incredibly thin in 2019. I was an event planner for the city. I was an event planner planning people's weddings and crap. I did it also personally on the side. So I'm throwing like network mixers and charity events. And then, and then I was working full time still. And then I had this card game. I'm sure there was one more venture I just can't think of at the moment. But either way, spreading myself uber thin, stressing myself out over everything, all these websites, all these things. And I was like, all right, I can't call this a failure because I never gave it my 100%. I never did.
How did you come to that realization? Because that you use self-reflection and that is an incredibly insightful. That's just incredibly insightful. How did that happen?
I got a notification about our website renewal. And I sat to myself and I was like, am I going to renew this shit? And that's what it kind of like snowball effect to like, well, why wouldn't you renew it? And it was like, well, why would you renew it? And that's when I was like having, again, therapy is like, why am I having these thoughts? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then it trickle down to, well, why do you kind of feel like a failure? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And what are you not happy with? What are things that bother you that you never say out loud or act upon? Mm. And I wrote them down and I was like, okay, well, what can I do to change these feelings? Because I wasn't happy. You know what I mean? I wasn't happy about it. Everybody that we told about the game were like, this is $1 million deal. You're going to be a millionaire. Not to say that I'm a millionaire now. I'm not. Thousandaire.
That's right.
Right. You know what? Thousandaire. But either way, it wasn't where I thought it would be in the timeline in which I thought it would be in. And I was looking for everything and everyone else to blame. And I realized the blame was on me because I never gave it the 100% that I know I needed to give it. And I was like, if I'm going to call this a failure, like a real failure, like if I'm really going to hang this up, I need to get rid of all the distractions and give this 100%. And then if it fails, I'd be like, you know what? At least I gave it my all. I can say that. You know what I mean? But I can't just call it quits and then never gave it all my attention, the attention that it needed. 2019 was a rough year for me mentally with a lot of personal things going on. And it was also a rough year for my business partner. So both of us are all going through a rough year and we let that business kind of like fall to the wayside. And we both realized it. So we, the top of 2020, after I had my self-reflection, I spoke to her and I was like, this is how I'm feeling. And she's like, I'm feeling the same. And I was like, I'm going back to therapy. She's like, I am too. And I was like, I really want to, see where this can go. So I dissolved the other businesses. My heart wasn't in them anyway. I was like, events, everybody knows event planners are like the most stressed out people on planet. So I was stressing myself out and I was like, why am I doing this when I could just focus on this and see where it goes? Mm. And that's what happened. And I wrote down all the things that I wasn't happy with the brand and I changed them all. And now I'm at 100% and I've never been happier.
Kev, you're right. I'm a nerd. That the reason that pumped me up more than watching someone hit a game-winning shot.
Oh no!
That is a game-winning shot.
I'm tearing a little thinking about it.
Give
me that tissue. I'm dead ass.
That is
that's dope.
Thank you.
It just what you just stated. Yeah. You stated it very articulately and concisely, but that is so. There's so much more that goes into being able to do that than what you just did. to look in the mirror and say, hey, I'm not liking what I'm seeing, right?
Yeah.
And I no longer can hide and blame others. I take that responsibility. And then to have the courage to say, I'm going to go singularly focused and put all my chips on red, right? Like, if this doesn't work out, what, right? But no, having that faith that this is what I want. And then to go through that process, right? Most people don't put pen to paper.
No.
And as a result, when it all stays up here, it's not doing shit, right? When it goes on paper, it becomes real.
Absolutely. And I'm one of those people where a million things swirl through my mind. I think a great idea is every day. Okay?
You can text me. Shit. Let me get my moment. Shit.
I think a great idea is all the time. I think a great idea is for other people's brands all the time. If I don't write it down, you're right. It's bullshit. It doesn't happen. It's bullshit. Absolute bullshit. It'll never happen. You have to get it out somewhere tangible or it'll be a shit show. Yeah.
Well, there's something that really, when we put pen to paper, it really solidifies it, right? When it's in the idea, when it's in the head, it's really an idea. The start of an action is when it becomes something tangible. And by writing, you're actually taking it from an idea to become at least the infancy of an action. Infancy stage, I should say. Yeah. Wow. So to switch gears a little bit, you work with numerous individuals, it sounds like.
Yes.
How do you choose your partners that you work with, and what do you value in a good partner?
I choose my partners based on the things I don't know how to do. I know my strengths. Make a SWOT analysis. Like, I know my strengths. I know my weaknesses, right? I know what I thrive at. I know all the opportunities that I know I can present. And I know, how far my web can go. When it came to AV being my business partner, we were friends first, but what makes her the yin to my yang is that she is my opposite. When, and from a creative sense, I'm definitely a little bit, I don't want to say that I'm boring, but she's way more creative than I, you know what I mean? When it comes to words, and when it comes to visuals. At that point in time, she's been freelancing. She's been living on her own in New York for years now. It's impressive. She hasn't worked for nobody for years in New York, where rent is like $1 million for a box, right?
Word is born.
So
for real.
She is I was like, all right, one, she's a go-getter. She's a hustler. Nothing will stop her. She loves talking to people. I don't fancy it that much. You know what I mean? 3, she's creative with words. I'm not as creative with words, okay? Yeah. I'm about putting pen to paper. If you want me to figure out the operations of something, sure. But to write a funny joke, a funny meme, the things that go into branding a business, like the person who writes all the Twitter Wendy account, the Wendy's Twitter bot. Yeah, that's my business partner. She's the wittiest person I know. Yeah. And she's also very determined. So that's how she came into play. She's also very much a comedian. And if things don't make her laugh, they don't go on the game. Things don't make me laugh, they don't go on the game. Martina, again, like I said, she's graphic design. I don't know how to do that shit. I don't know how to do Photoshop or any of those things. Okay. Yeah. And she knows the lingo when it comes to printing. I had to learn what, DPI was and the thickness of paper. She knows what to say to manufacturers when I'm like, this cardstock isn't thick enough, So that's where she comes in. Our events girl, Whitney, also an extrovert. She used to be a brand ambassador for Nesquik or some crap. She loves talking to people. She loves writing press releases. That's her wheelhouse. Everybody has a wheelhouse. And as for Kristen, I love Kristen because she's like a little sister to me, but she's always been into clothes. She's always been into looking nice. She knows what looks nice and what doesn't. I'm fashionable, but not as fashionable as her. So she's in charge of the drip. You know what I'm saying? And she'll be the one who puts the merchandise on the website. And that's where all the tech things, that's where I come in. I'm a techie at large, all the boring things. I learned how to code to do my own website. So when it comes to boring crap like that, like, oh, I need a website, I need a banner, I need all that. That's me all day. How to figure out how a person is going to place an order. It's going to go to ship station, then it's going to go here, then it's going to get packed here, and then it's going to get mailed out here on this day. That's me.
Okay.
So you're the essentially what makes the whole thing tick,
Yes.
and they fill in
everything else. Absolutely.
That's dope.
Absolutely.
So what's that? The I gotta know.
Yeah.
The Vance Hall. Like when I see your thing, it says Vance Hall and all. Like how y'all put Central into that?
Because we went through so many different names of the game, and then we finally stumbled on University of Dope. But we didn't want to name our business University of Dope, because as you said, it was like, where do you see this? And it was like, shoot for the moon. You know what I mean? So we're like, festivals, you know what I mean? Like all the things. Like it can't all be called University of Dope.
Yeah.
So because we named it University of Dope, and the story is like, we met in college, you know what I'm saying? She lived on the same building on the same floor. Shout out to the Roots, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the quad.
The quad. And in college, we had this thing where we had our little crew, second floor Vance Hall. Like that was our crew.
That was a spot.
That was the spot. Vance Hall was the spot. Vance Hall was the poppin' dorm. That's what it was. So we named the business Vance Hall because Vance Hall never slept. Vance Hall, you would go into the common areas and people will be in there arguing about hip hop and shit. Like
3 in the morning, 4 in the morning.
It didn't matter the time. I could wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, go in the quad, and niggas be in there wide awake. Just shooting the shit. So we named our business Vance Hall off the spirit of Vance Hall, the fuckery that goes on any of the floors, and that's how we kind of wanted it to expand out web-wise for University Dope. So we'll have University Dope, and then we'll have all these other things that go into Vance Hall that makes Vance Hall Vance Hall.
Yeah, Vance Hall.
Yeah, it was the worst dorm on campus. It looked like shit. I heard it used to be a prison for real. Like, that's the rumor. I don't know if it's true. Okay, somebody from New Britain, Connecticut, please confirm or deny. Right, but I heard that it was a prison at first, and they converted it into obviously university, but then they turned it into a dorm. It's literally
shit.
It looked like shit. But it had the best people, and it was the most fun. I would not take that back.
That was an experience.
Ever.
That was an experience. Shout outs to Deuce.
Oh yeah,
my brother from another. You hear me?
Shout out to Deucey.
Yeah, Deuce. That Vance Hall.
Yeah.
I just used to go around praying for people. You understand? Placing hands on people, blessing them. That's what KP did.
He did nothing of the sorts.
Yeah. No, that one came clear. So you mentioned a ton of influences.
Yeah.
In just that last kind of question. But when you look at throughout your life, kind of the individuals who influenced you the most, whether it was with DJing, whether it was with all the other creative endeavors that you've been on, who are the ones that really come to mind that stand out?
That motivate me, Summer?
Yeah, just like the greatest influences that you've tried to, whether it's take a piece of whatever it may be.
My parents, my mom and my dad, for two very different reasons, right? My mom and my dad didn't work out. They definitely got a divorce. My father passed away. That's the short story. Anybody who ever met my dad is like the Amber. He was like Wolf of Wall Street. He had his own accounting firm. He was very business savvy. Everybody wanted to be his friend. He talking to people all the time. He was that dude that was always on a cell phone with a suit on. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And my mother used to be a teacher, and then she became a nurse when she came to this country because they wouldn't honor her teaching degree. Racism. Anyway, hashtag racism.
Yes.
Anyway, so she ended up becoming a CNA, and then eventually ended up becoming a nurse. But she is one of the hardest working people I had ever encountered ever in life. And I even recognized that in my adolescence. She worked double. She'd work like 3 p.m. to 7 a.m. every day. Okay, just to make sure we had food to eat. Okay, she was a single parent. My father was not around later, and again, he passed away. So she worked incredibly hard. Again, I'm the child of an immigrant, and if you've ever met immigrant kids, it is on you to make sure that the legacy, what their sacrifices are for, manifest into whatever they needed for their legacy. They put that pressure on you from infancy. Okay.
What?
Okay. Africans know, that's why when you meet a lot of Africans, they be like, are you a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what they put on their children. They strive for excellence. Me, on the other hand, my mom was so busy. She tried to do that, but she was always at work, and I recognized that. So she was like my driving influence for a lot of the things that I pursue, because I really just be trying to make her proud. And at the end of the day, I want to take care of her. So she'd be the driving force for a lot of the things that I do. My mother's a driving force for a lot of the motivation and stuff that I even have, because I'm like, I can't let her down. Even now. I can't let her down.
Yeah. That mother love.
Yeah, I can't let her down. I just can't. She gave us a show. She helped with the, I guess technically the seed money for UDOPE. So that's the thing too. You already heard like African parents, like doctor, lawyer, engineer. There's a joke that's just like, or fourth option, disgrace to family, right? Like, and I took the black sheep route. I didn't become any of those things. My brother was like at a computer tech, so he kind of falls within the lines of what people be proud of to brag about. And I wasn't really doing anything that my mom could brag about to her other African posse friends.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
African parents love to brag.
Yes.
So when I had the idea for UDOPE, it was wild. Obviously, like a card game, a hip hop card game. Come on, guys. Like, you've never even worked in this field or industry before. You know what I mean? And at the same time, I was saving money to buy a house to move out of her house, right? But then we thought of the idea for the game. And I was like, fuck, where am I going to get this money from? I only have my savings, right? We didn't crowdfund really. I mean, we had a small crowdfund, but it was not like the money we needed.
Right.
This money was sitting in my savings. And I could either buy a house with it or invest it into University of Dope. And I chose to invest it into University of Dope. So I went to my mother and I was like, I have an idea. And I told her the idea and she was like, do you think you'll be able to make your money back? And I was like, yes, I believe in myself. I'm determined. I will make my money back. And I was like, if I find a house while I'm going through this process, will you let me borrow the money to make up for the gap? Right? And that's exactly what happened. So in the midst of us launching and all this other shit, I found a house that I liked. And I was like, fuck, I need money.
Right.
And she gifted me the money so that the underwriters for the loan would be like, all right, this money's still in her account. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we'll give you the loan because this money's still here. And then when it got time to pay her back, she told me to keep the money. And I cried my eyes out.
Mommy.
You know?
Yeah.
Held me down. So then when we first started to get like real recognition, when we first started to get like press for UDOPE and it was like in a paper, I just knew she was excited to brag. Anytime my name is like in anything, I'm like, look, Mom, you know what I'm saying? Smile every time my face is up in the stores. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like, come on, man. So she held me down even when, thank you. She held me down even when she didn't know what the fuck this was. Like, she was just like, I believe in her. And that was all I needed. And that's all she needed. Like, she believes in herself. I instilled it in her. I'll give her the money.
And that's so powerful based off of the African culture.
They don't get down like that.
Yeah. What? Or Caribbean culture for me, like same shit.
Same shit.
And it's like they would never invest in a what to take a what?
To do what?
Take the what and leave a
what? Please.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But it's also
that's amazing.
For so many times, and again, this is definitely not the reality, but it certainly can be for a lot of people. We invest in a person, not the idea.
That part.
Right.
And she very much invested in me because she didn't know shit about shit when it comes to hip hop or games. Okay? Nothing. Right. She just knew I'd figure it out.
Right. And that's the love.
And that it's the love, but it's also your body of work, right? And what you have done. If you weren't going hard in so many areas of your life from day one, right? Mm-hmm. I'm sure that probably wouldn't have happened, right?
Yeah.
And although mom is mom, I highly doubt mom is going to invest if it was, hey, you're sitting on the couch all day doing nothing.
This is
right?
true.
So I think part of it is also
That I got a hustler spirit, and she
yeah,
sees that.
that's it. Right. Like
Nah, real shit.
yeah.
Definitely.
She saw the hustler in me, and I was always like, you know what? If she fails, okay, it's at least she tried.
Yeah. She gonna make it work.
Yeah.
So, do you have any more questions, Kev? I got one more.
Nah, shoot.
So the last question I have for you is 5 years from now.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself? Where do you see University of Dope?
5 years from now, I would like to have finally got into Target.
Target.
But the thing is, I want to just go into a store. And granted, not to knock our other small partners and gift shops that have purchased University of Dope in bulk, but I would like to get into one of these big box stores. And then 5 years from now, I would like to get to the festival that I've been envisioning in my mind for a very long time. Festivals are my jam. I love music.
Yeah, no doubt.
And I love concerts. And I would like to have like my very own. The founder of Afropunk is just a filmmaker.
Damn.
Yeah, he made a film, Afropunk, Black kids who like punk music. And before you know it, boom. Now it's in Johannesburg, Paris, Atlanta, Brooklyn. Shout out to Afropunk. Y'all sponsored us one year.
Fire.
But it started off a guy who made a small film about Black kids who like punk music. And that's what it's one of the most inspiring stories that sticks with me, because I'm like, I want that to be me. I want to have festivals. And then in turn, I want to take those festivals and then put it into nonprofits and then help my community. At the end of the day, I have a couple ideas for 2 nonprofits. And I really want to make those.
Well, I have no doubt that all that is going to come to fruition.
Yeah.
It's just your energy is infectious. It's going to undoubtedly happen.
Thank you.
So where can people find you? Where can people find University of Dope? Where can we send the people to?
Okay, so first, please follow us at University of Dope. We're on Instagram, University of Dope, Facebook. Twitter, we're at UDope Hot Takes. We have a bot that puts out people's unpopular hip hop opinions just randomly. So if you want to laugh, that's where you can go. You can follow me at SkinnyBee. That's SkinniBee on Instagram. I think that's and if you want to buy the game, universityofdope.com. Please support your girl.
Yeah.
We have the R&B expansion pack that just rolled out. We're coming out with the part 2 of that expansion pack in a couple of months. And
R&B probably crazy.
Oh yeah, the R&B is just as hilarious as At first we were, like people their singers be kind of nice, but I'm just like no. It's all the questions are disrespectful and fun. So
nice.
The R&B pack is just as ruthless as the general studies pack. It's just as bad.
I need that.
All right, cool.
Well, I can't thank you enough for coming on and having a good time.
Thank you. This is fun. Fun. Very much so.
Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Falling Up Podcast.
Falling Up. I like that name.